fly ball deep into left field. It is gone! Ali Seville has walked it off for the Bearkats, and they are going to the conference tournament.
One strike with the bases loaded. Blackman swings a blooper into shallow left field. That ball's got a chance to get down. It's down for a base hit. Autry scores. Martinez scores. Walk off. Double Parker Blackman. Get the brooms out as the Bearkats fan the flames here today in Huntsville. 2-1, the Cats win it.
It's very ironic that this is take two because of microphone issues. Because you know what? I know two things: God and the Cats. It just had to be. It just had to be that, coincidentally speaking. But God and the Cats, babe. What an unbelievable Sunday it was yesterday for Sam Houston Diamond Sports. We're gonna break it all down up next. But first, I'm calling Neil. That's Luke Scott. And if you haven't already, be sure you subscribe today for all Sam Houston Sports Talk content. You can also follow us on Spotify for the audio podcast and follow us on all of our social media platforms. Links will be in the description below. Usually, I have a higher quality microphone, but unfortunately, I don't know where my headphones are. Well, I do know now, but they're 45 minutes away, an hour and a half if you count for the traffic right now at 4:28 p.m. Central Time on a Monday. So I'm not going to waste time. Unfortunately, y'all are going to have to hear my beautiful voice through my laptop microphone. But either way, let's dive right into it, Luke. I honestly want to get your perspective first. Just kind of, how would you, don't like say everything, but like kind of like what was it like keeping track of both games? I know you were especially busy yourself.
Yeah, super busy Saturday, and it's like just a complete weekend of change, as you can see in the background here, Colin. But able to flip back and forth, kind of on my phone, just checking in here and there, primarily watching softball. And Saturday was a struggle. I mean, it just was until it wasn't, right, Colin? It was you're following on social media, and I'm seeing Sam Houston's getting perfect gamed right now through 4, 5, 6, however many innings it was. And I was like, oh, man, every time I'd flip on this to the broadcast, it was just always La Tech batting. I was like, what the heck? And so then I flip over to the baseball, and the baseball's not doing too hot. And then they do hot. Then they're doing great. And so, just a complete weekend of pandemonium, a super fun sports weekend in general. When you're looking across the globe, and especially in the U.S., and Sam Houston was just right in that mix, and what a great weekend for both baseball and softball.
Yeah, well, I was there for everything on Sunday. It was so baseball first started at 12:05 p.m. That was what the first pitch was. 12:35 p.m. first pitch for softball was. So I didn't really see much from baseball. We'll get to that in a moment. But it was at first not looking good for Sam Houston. So literally 3 pitches in, you lost your shortstop Morgan Holiday after she ran into a wall in the left field line foul ground after she was trying to go for a pop up that went over the fence, and the wall did not absorb the hit at all, Luke. So you could see on the broadcast she was immediately, you could tell, and definitely in some pain, and she had to be taken out, and Kristen Whitlock took over at that spot in the field, and then Abigail Young, who's been absolutely amazing this year, gives up 2 runs in the first inning, and off of a Rayleigh RBI double and then a sac fly. I mean, she was able to get out of it, but it's going to be tough, especially after everything that happened in the first inning. And Bearkat offense got perfected until the through the 6th inning, and so they were 15 up. They were not 15, 18 down, 18 up, 18 down, going to the 7th inning, and it's like something's got to give, right, at some point. And Carla Dees actually in that 6th inning lined out really hard to center field onto the warning track, but it was of course caught. So you feel like that there was something there that they were doing right all of a sudden. But their pitcher, Alyssa Martin, I learned from Louisiana Tech's SID that she was a former student manager that walked on. She went 6 innings, 1 hit, 1 run that was earned, no walks, 2 strikeouts on 70 pitches. But what took her out of the game was a leadoff double to the right center field gap by Elia Hebel, and then Martin got taken out of the game. And Luke, I honestly don't know why they did.
Yeah, decisions like that always make you scratch your head, and you see it whenever you're watching or playing high school, and you see it in the majors, you see it in all the different pro leagues, high A, major league. You see it in college softball, high school. You just see it all the time where a coach makes a decision that you kind of scratch your head at. And Colin, I gotta say, throughout the entire game, she was on fire. You're watching social media, you're watching the clips, you're tuning in every, like as I was every here and there, and it was perfection. And then all of a sudden, you take her out. Colin, it baffles me still, and there's not really many words to explain it. I don't know if Louisiana Tech had a statement about that or whatnot, but yeah, really weird decision.
Yeah, it maybe it was because they saw how they were getting to her as the game went on that they were like, okay, we got to get her out of there, otherwise it will start unfolding. Well, Jenny Robinson brought in Heine, who was courtesy running for Hebel. She brought her in, and then Perez grounded hard to the right side, right to the first baseman, who had a dive to get it, so that allowed Robinson to go on to third, and that set up Brody Quinlan, and she sent it up the middle for an RBI single to tie it at 2-2. And then, of course, an inning later, Allie Seville homered to walk it off and send the Bearcats to the Conference USA Tournament because Middle Tennessee won against UTEP, and it was either a Bearcat win or a Middle Tennessee loss, and Middle Tennessee went sooner than Sam Houston did, and Middle Tennessee just run ruled UTEP. UTEP only scored 1 run, I believe, that entire series. So I personally knew that you're going to have to win this game, and it was not looking good. But Luke, to go from being perfected through 6 to walking it off on senior day, these were basically all seniors that contributed this the whole thing. That top 5, I mean, it's and then Seville obviously finishing it off. It's just what a hell of a day! What a hell of a day for Sam Houston softball.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, on senior day, and your seniors were the ones to step up at the very end when you didn't have your best stuff throughout the entire game. And also credit Abigail Young. Gave up the 2 runs there early, but stuck it out, right, and eventually got the win, got the W. You got to credit the Sam Houston defense as much as you want to credit the offense and the batting. Late in the game, that defense really kept them in there as well.
Yeah.
A lot of simple executing, routine plays, but sometimes those are the ones that can kill you. You see it all the time with a bobble here and there, and leads to an error, and then leads to a big inning, right? I mean, we saw that with baseball throughout the year. A couple errors don't go your way, and it's just kind of the way it goes. But yeah, a real team effort all series long, and you just kind of knew it was going to come down to one pitch, and there it was. I mean, it's very fitting that it's the seniors that close out the series and take them to the conference tournament. And we knew going into this game, there was a good shot for it to be a win or go home type situation, and that's exactly what presented itself. And thankfully, the Bearcats, man, we came through.
Cardiac Cats. Abigail Young, though, 8 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs. Both of those were earned. Of course, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts, 1 hit batter, but she got the job done on 129 pitches. She was also not her 100% in the circle because I saw that it was an ankle. I was not watching the broadcast, so they might have said something about an ankle or something on the lower leg, but she was you could tell that she was definitely not 100%. But I mean, in all honesty, a lot of athletes are not 100% when they're playing out on the field, especially as often as Abby Young, who's a starter, of course. But the fact that she got through this, the grit, the toughness, she got it done. But it doesn't end there for Sunday, does it? Because 10 minutes later, something else happened, and Luca, can you be honest with me? Did you think that this was ever on your mind that Sam Houston was going to do what the Sam Houston baseball was going to do what they did on this weekend?
No, no, not at all, Colin. It's a great thing that happened. You look at the last month, the entire really April, just really struggling, and just haven't been able to generate a complete game, meaning solid pitching, solid hitting, and in the field. Just haven't really seen that in a while. And on Saturday, of course, we had 2 games on Saturday due to weather, and the first one was a great one, 8-7 victory, and you're like, wow, okay. And the second one on Saturday, or I guess right after, it was a big victory. And then Sunday, Colin, it was kind of similar. I mean, it just wasn't looking great. We were able to get hits, throughout the game, but we weren't necessarily putting the pressure on Liberty. The timely hitting just wasn't there. Colin, and then the bottom of the ninth, just as you draw it up when you're a little kid and you're in your backyard playing with your friends and your family. That's exactly what happened, right? And Parker Blackman, what a guy, a freshman doing it. How about that?
Yeah, so I was like in a very peculiar situation. I was waiting to go interview Coach Valish and Young in Seville, which y'all can check out those interviews on the Twitter page if y'all want, and also be sure to drop a follow as well. But so I'm like stuck, and everyone that has gone to Sam Houston knows how close Sam Houston baseball and softball. I mean, the left field wall for Sam Houston baseball is literally, look to the right, it's right there. Like, it's not close at all. So and then I was listening to Carlos Zimmerman, the voice of the Bearcats, on Bearcat Sports Network in my headphones.
What a great call! What a great call in the very end, too, huh?
It was, man. It was. Yeah, you're actually gonna hear it in the intro that I played definitely at the beginning of this. I'm just not gonna let you. I just didn't want to say anything until now, of course. But yeah, I was like, then okay, it's bases loaded, 1 out. We have a shot. Screw it. I'm gonna risk it. And then they went through pitching change. I'm like, oh my goodness! All right, let's go back. And then that pitching, that bullpen, not bullpen, the warm ups then ended. I was like, okay, I'm going back there, and I started recording. Sam Lee was up. He had a good at bat, but he eventually struck out. And then 2 outs, you're down 1-0. You're getting shut out the entire game. You've left so many runners on base though, Luke. Like 13 left on base, and like ridiculous. Like, come on, like can't be doing that. But at least you knew that hey, they're getting runners on base. And before we get to that, really, shout out Cam Diaz. He had the bases loaded with nobody out at one point against Liberty in that 4th inning. Then he got ground out into a double play that scored a run, but it got out of that inning. He went 6 innings of 5 hit, 1 run baseball, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts. That tied his, I believe that's his new career high, or tied his career high. I don't know. And then Felix Schled pitched 3 clean, scoreless innings, just his best outing of the year. So the pitching for once was getting it done, really, and the pitching got it done on the day before as well from Ryan Pearson. We'll get to that in just a moment because news came out of a honor that he got. But yeah, Parker Blackman stepping up, bases loaded, 2 outs. You've all seen the video. He punch shots it down the left field line, and the Liberty left fielder just could not get to it. And and you could see how close he was, Luke. He was so close. but it fell. Walk-off 2-run single by Parker Blackman, and the Bearcats complete the sweep after coming into the series with just 9 wins, Luke. They literally won a third of that in the over the next 36 hours.
Yeah, an unreal kind of swing of events there, and it's when teams are in what's it called, down slumps. When teams are in slumps and players are in slumps, as kind of Sam Houston was, sometimes it's the little things that can get you out of it, and a little bloop single can go a long way. And in this case, it got us the win there on Sunday. Yeah, a great. I wouldn't say it was a great game, but it definitely was a great last inning. I mean, yeah, 13 runners left on base, Colin, is just inexcusable, right? You can't expect to win games, especially sweeping a team, right? When you have games where you leave that many on base, but the Bearcats, the Cardiac Cats, like you said earlier, they found a way to get it done. And Liberty's not a slouch of a team either. I mean, this is a team with multiple ranked wins on the season. They beat NC State, they beat Duke.
They beat Virginia Tech on this past Tuesday, and Virginia Tech is a very good RPI team as well, potentially top 25. They're going to get an at-large bid into a regional, but they're really good. But baseball.
Exactly. Yeah, it could be anything. It's maybe we caught them sleeping a little bit, maybe so. But I also think that was the best we've played, like a series we've played all year. I mean, just a complete effort there, and there was a lot to take away that wasn't great. I mean, 13 left on base. The second game was a great game on Saturday, the second of the two. And the first one was a great one as well, right? It was a one run victory, but the pitching really came up clutch there. Especially this weekend, it both baseball and softball. At this level, that's what it's all about. It's all about your pitching and your bullpen. If your bullpen and pitching can get going, you live with what you get, offensively, but that can keep you in games, and that's exactly what they did all throughout the weekend. And a couple swings of the bat changed the outcomes, right, for both baseball and softball. So a great final inning there. Great clips there we got from Blackman, Frandon hopping into two things.
That was
it's always
awesome.
fun when the burners get involved too.
No, that's dude. I am telling you right now, we have the best burner community in college sports. I'm gonna just say right now, I'm biased as hell, but if I see when I saw Frandon come up, and I was like, oh, what's he gonna say? I hope he doesn't say anything crazy. And then he did say something crazy, but in a good way. Two things: God and the Cats. And you saw the Sam Houston community go crazy over that clip, and so that was pretty cool. That was honestly pretty cool to see.
Oh yeah, they loved it. They loved it. I mean, you see if the reactions and the amount of replies that you get under a tweet, or then the retweets and the likes, and it's just a army of them. I mean, really, and you got to remember, coming into this season, like this whole athletic year, right? In football, we didn't have many burners. We didn't have a huge presence online. Boy, has that changed in 1 year. And you got to credit the memesters. You got to credit the jokesters running them. At times they can be brutal. Maybe a little too tough on our guys. Looking at you, Jay Sirianni. But then at other times when they're going in on other people, when they're going after who's the guy that online, what was his name? The college football guy.
It was Pate, right?
That's it. what's his first name? Pate.
Josh
Pate, right?
Yeah, Josh Pate.
Yeah, when they're going in after Josh Pate, they're attacking other fan bases online. It's an army. It's so much fun to watch, and when something catches on like two things, gotta love that.
Yeah, and well, even Lexi Smith, the pitching coach for St. Vincent softball's caught on to that too. She knows two things. God and the Cats, and relaying back to baseball though, Luke, do you know why it's huge? You want to know an even bigger reason why? You know why, Luke? Because despite what has happened this year, they are one game back of the final spot in the conference tournament, and it's Liberty that's in that final spot. They came into this series rather 4 games back, and sweeping the Liberty Flames has caused them to be 1 game back. Liberty has to go to FIU, and then they have to face DBU to end the season. Bearcats, on the other hand, have to face Middle Tennessee and FIU as their remaining weekend series. And Middle Tennessee is who's right behind Sam Houston at that last place spot. So that's a good opportunity to separate yourself from Middle Tennessee. And then you have FIU at home, who's been very up and down, while Liberty has to face FIU in Miami and also face the number 16 or whatever it is right now, ranked team in the country in the Dallas Baptist Patriots. So despite everything that has happened this year, Luke, somehow, some way, Sam Houston's conference tournament hopes are not just alive, but they're actually pretty realistic. Like this legit could happen.
It could, yeah, and sometimes the schedule doesn't go your way, and sometimes it does. I mean, you see that in football, you see that in basketball, baseball, softball, volleyball. You see it everywhere that some teams just have a bad schedule at the very end and some don't. And, getting this sweep, achieving that feat that we did this past weekend, that's really set us up for this next week, right? From the 9th all the way to the 18th or 17th. This next week is huge for us, because if we can just get a few more games, we're in. And Colin, if you would have told us, right? If you would have told us that we'd have a chance to get into the conference tournament before all this transpired, I'd say no way. Like we're just not. But here we are. We have a shot. And baseball, Colin, it's not about the best teams, it's about the hot teams.
Yeah, 2019 Astros Nationals World Series taught me a lot about that. But yeah,
look at who was it that we played in the regional one? The Southland. Was it? Oh, who was it? That got in. They were like the worst in their. Or maybe it wasn't the Southland. They were the worst in their conference, and then they got in.
No, you're talking about 2023. It was and I've been mentioning this team on our previous pods. Tulane 2023.
Tulane.
They were one of the worst teams, and they somehow won the American Athletic Conference in 2023. They went into the regional loop with 19 wins. 19. And I've been like saying, like, you never know, like Sam Houston could be this year's 2023 Tulane team. And well, lo and behold, it's looking pretty damn possible. Because the old saying goes, don't let the cats get hot. And the reason why I say that, Luke, is because winning is addictive. Like, once you win one game, yeah, sure. Once you win 2 games, oh, okay. But once you win 3 games in a row, oh boy, you don't want to let go of that feeling, and you just want to keep going. If the pitching starts to be on point, Luke, like they did outside of the first game on Saturday, besides Noah Kendrick, I mean, the starting pitching, you kind of know what your starters are for the first 3 go rounds. Noah Kendrick on Friday, Ryan Peterson on Saturday, and Cam Diaz, who's been absolutely amazing, has really turned it around this year on Sunday. And
did you just try to quote Major League there?
What?
Oh, you said, you win 1, you win 2.
Oh yeah.
We won 3.
You won one game, and then you win 2. That's back to back. You win 3. That's a winning streak.
That's right.
Funnily enough, that's what head coach Jay Sirianni told me after I interviewed him. That's an audio only interview. That'll be out probably soon or whatever. But because because we had an interview in his office because a lot of stuff went down. But yeah, overall though, what a great day for softball. What a great day for baseball. And I know, and we're gonna get more into softball coming up next because they're already in Bowling Green. They had to leave out today at noon, so they legit went into this game not knowing if they were gonna go to Bowling Green today or not. And well, they pulled it off. Alex Seville walk-off homer. We'll dive into softball more next here on Sam Houston Sports Talk. All right, welcome back to Sam Houston Sports Talk. All Neil, Luke Scott on the other side. Moved into a new place. How about it, man? What's it like? How's that been?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I've been checking out the area. I've been just kind of driving around, just trying to get a feel for the lay of the land. A little bit more people than there were in Huntsville or in Georgetown. So got to get used to that. But other than that, not too bad. Not too bad. I'm close to some family, so
Good.
which is always good.
What's your address?
Nanya.
I'll tell you my address. God and the cats, baby. Two things. All right.
Two things.
Yeah.
That's it. Let's see. 936. Two Things Boulevard. Whatever. I don't know the zip code. You can do whatever zip code you want.
We'll figure it out how that. We'll figure it out. There's something there. There's something cooking right there. But anyway, Sam Houston softball. They are, like I said, they are in Bowling Green, Kentucky right now. They left earlier today on Monday. I believe they landed in Bowling Green, where that is going to be the site of the Conference USA tournament. And 6 teams, Luke, 6 teams, and they will first go up against Jack State. That will be on Wednesday, 12 p.m. Central Time. It's going to be on. Every game is going to be on ESPN Plus. So, as far as I know, I don't know if they're going to have I forget if they have the final on CBS Sports Network. I believe it's double elimination all around. I don't think the final is a one game thing, which I honestly heavily disagree with that last year. Because believe if I remember correctly, it was Western Kentucky that got screwed over. Yeah, it was Western Kentucky that got screwed over because they didn't lose at all until that final. And so what? Start off with this though, before we kind of look into more of the tournament itself. What do the Bearcats have to do that they are not doing pretty well right now to make a run?
Ooh, well, I think maybe just try to build up the momentum. I don't think we hit our best at all throughout this past series against Louisiana Tech. You put up 3 runs and 4 runs in the 3 games, and that can get you by. But at some point, I think you can't rely on pitching as much as we have in the past. Half month or so, really since the Liberty that we didn't. I think we batted okay against Liberty, but even at that, I just don't think we've played our best. Offensively, timely hitting hasn't really been there. I say that. I mean, there was the big walk-off that we had just yesterday as of recording, but I think just being a little bit more active in the box, be patient. But I just think we just haven't maybe hit our spots that we've wanted to. Maybe, and it's just kind of one of those things that it's the ebbs and flows of baseball and softball. I mean, both can be said for each sport. I'm not really concerned about the pitching or the defense at all, just because we've been pretty consistent throughout the entire year. You just like to be able to hit the ball a little bit more and give some more support there to your defense. That's really the main thing. I really like the way the pitchers have pitched. You just don't want to have to rely on only giving up 1, 2, 3 runs. You'd like to be able to have some comfort, when you're in the circle and not having to deal with a 1-run game going into the last couple innings.
Yeah, so here's how the tournament works. So it is a single elimination. So it is a single elimination game in the championship game. So now it'll be on CBS Sports Network on Saturday. Looking back at the graphic though, not the graphic, the bracket at the beginning. So to open it's Jack State versus Sam Houston. Jack State, the number 3 seed, who swept Sam Houston earlier this season at Jacksonville State. That'll be the first game. Then La Tech, who's the 4 seed, and New Mexico State, the 5 seed. That's right after. The losers of both of those games will play at 5 p.m. that day on whether or not they move on to the next phase of the losers bracket. Liberty is the number 1 seed, of course. We all know that. Western Kentucky, the number 2 seed. So Sam Houston would, if they, let's say for argument purposes, if they beat Jack State and if they beat Western Kentucky, they don't have to worry about Liberty until basically the winners bracket semifinals, or basically that Friday as a whole. Maybe and of course worst case scenario they lose 2 in a row, but they what do you say? Wait, how am I trying to put this? The fact that they're in a decent position to avoid Liberty until like Friday is a kind of a advantage that I think is a little bit understated. But again, though, they did compete with Liberty really well when they were at Lynchburg earlier in the season.
Yeah, I completely agree. The later you can see Liberty, the better, right? 23-3 in conference on the year. They've just kind of been a machine all throughout the entire season. And we saw that when we squeaked one out against Liberty. But, I think when you look at all the rest of the teams in the tournament, in the bracket, Colin, we're all right next to each other. I mean, I can't look at Jack State and look at Sam Houston or New Mexico State and La Tech and Western Kentucky and really really consider one of those, other 5 or 6 being in a distinct advantage. I just don't. I think they're so all very similar. And of course, the Conference USA has been so good at this, and the teams being so competitive, and really all the games all season long. I just don't. Outside of Liberty, I think it's anyone's shot for whoever's next up right there. And with these things, anyone can win it. I mean, tournaments are the best for that exact reason that, like we saw in the basketball, right, NCAA tournament, maybe it was that 1 seed that did win, which was Florida, right? But, not every time does it come down to a bunch of 1 seeds, and you see teams that were just kind of mediocre or above average throughout the year, and they really get hot, down the stretch. Sam Houston's in a position to do that. And, we've been talking about this team all spring saying, look, we think this team's got something to it. They've definitely improved in the last few years. And I just can't really consider anyone else outside of Liberty to be that favorite. I think we got a really good shot at it. And the later you see Liberty, the better.
So in the preseason poll, Sam Houston was picked 6th. So that was pretty spot on right there.
Yep.
Even the thing is, Luke, even overall, this season has been the best one since 2019. I mean, they can still achieve a winning season, obviously, but overall, look, I feel like Sam Houston is playing with house money right now. I just really can't see how they could feel a bunch of pressure, because Luke, they competed with the squad. They competed with Liberty and Lynchburg. They beat them at Lynchburg, and Liberty obviously was ranked at the time. So, in my opinion, Luke, if that pitching has stayed consistent, if that keeps up, and then the offense, finds consistency. I mean, they're not playing. The bats are not at their best right now, but if they somehow within these next 48 hours or so find their best, find out how to stay consistent, and make sure nothing like what happened against La Tech on Sunday happened. I mean, of course you got the win, but you didn't want it. You don't want to win like that all the time. You don't want to have to always come back from behind. And you got and just but this offense showed how good it can be because they came back from that. They came back from getting perfected through six. They scored 2 runs in the bottom of the seventh. Then guess what? The pitching got it done in the eighth, and then the walk off happened, of course, in the bottom half of the eighth. So I think Sam Houston is low key a dangerous team right now. Probably the most dangerous team that is not a favorite to win the conference championship. Luke, this is neutral ground outside of your Western Kentucky, of course. This is where a lot of things can happen. And yes, did Jack State sweep Sam Houston? Yes, but again, that was at Jack State. I hear the trip's not exactly the funnest to get to Jacksonville, Alabama. So now
Colin,
it's on.
if you had to pick one player to step up, you know, outside of Abigail Young, outside of your pitchers, who is your player to watch in this tournament?
Oh, I now this isn't something. Now this isn't to say exactly like this player has been bad, but I'm looking at Bella. I'm looking at Bella Perez. Like it's the power has been kind of not there for a bit, Luke. And I mean she's hit well all season long. I mean, which by the way, we have Sam Houston has 4 players with 900 OPS or better. And that's Perez at 916, Quinlan at 932, Hebel at 949, which, by the way, Hebel really turned it around, by the way, after the first few weeks of the season. She really turned it around. Robinson's there with an 1,040 OPS. So, but Perez is in that spot in the order where you want her to be in the drive runs. I mean, if she can get some of that power back that she had sitting at 12 homers, I don't remember the last time she actually hit a home run. She did hit a home run against La Tech on March 3rd, but before that, Luke, she went almost a month without a home run. So I think you're gonna need her to bring in some pop, like get that ball over the fence to because they can get runners on base, Luke, but it's just a matter of can you bring them around or not. And she's someone that she's someone that I trust, especially in the spot of the order that she's in, that can bring in runs. But also, Luke, that bottom of the order still needs to step up as well to set up
That's
that
it.
top.
I was fixing to say.
Yeah, to set up that top, especially with you get your top of the order to get on base along with your bottom of the order, and then that heart of the order just absolutely will feast on getting runs across the base pass. And if everything goes well on those two fronts, I can't see why. I honestly can't see why not. They can't do anything.
Yeah, and hopefully, Morgan Holiday can get back. With her leaving there in the game early in the first inning. Last time out. But I was just say the whole bottom part of the order, whether that's Hobbs, Holiday, really, I guess the bottom 4 in the lineup if they could all just, turn that lineup over and get it back to the top. We like what we can do at the top of the order. It's all about having those runners on the base, right? And being able to score and having runners in position. If you're able to get Jenny Robinson up to bat, right, with 1 or 2 on base, in this tournament pretty consistently, you're going to be in good shape. And so I'm looking at that whole bottom part of the order, Colin, just like you said, just to turn on a little bit. And all of them have come through in the clutch at some point during the season. But you'd like for that time to step up. And I know there's a lot of younger starters there on that bottom half of the order. But this is a time where you got to step up and and just dig and if it's walks that get you on base, it's walks, right?
Yeah.
But you'll take what you can get in a tournament.
And another player to keep an eye on, in my opinion, is Haley Carter. Now I know that average is not great at all overall, but one thing that she can get done is work counts and put down a good bunt. That's an underrated part of the bottom of the order that's not talked about, is that they can put down a good bunt when they need to move runners into scoring position. It's just going to be overall how everything flows in the game, because the last two times, Luke, that the Bearcats were in a conference tournament, their offense just completely lacked, but the pitching was there. So
yeah, it's just kind of, I don't know. Tournaments are the best, right? For all the best reasons, and tournaments can be great and tournaments can be awful. And it's just, if you're able to come through in that moment. We've seen baseball and softball rise to the top as the cream rises, and we've seen them fall and spill.
it looked like you're about to go on a bit of a John Gruden rant a little bit. When the cream
I was trying to get somewhere there, and I just kind of lost. I fumbled it. Knock on wood if you're with me.
This desk I'm on is not real wood. Okay, so you had the WAC tournament where they hosted it in 2022. They lost 5-4 to New Mexico State. The next year they scored no runs, and if I remember correctly, it's just the offense was just kind of inconsistent throughout. And you go to 2021, that's the last time they won a game won a conference tournament game, Luke. It was a 4-3 win against Houston Baptist almost a week to the day, May 12th, 2021. That's the last time that they won a conference game. They did not get into the conference tournament in 2024. So there's a bit of, you feel like that there's some, what's the word for it? Angst to not be a first round exit or not be a two and done. You want to go far in this tournament, and I think that they can. I feel pretty confident about this team. I think they're going to do well. We'll see what happens. That begins Wednesday at noon on ESPN Plus. Sam Houston kicks off the Conference USA tournament against Jack State. All right, unless you got something else you wanted to say.
Well, I mean, you brought up the recent history there in the tournaments, Colin. Coach Volish, it's been his regime throughout all of this. Do you think that something you go about coaching and managing in a different way at this time than you do that the regular season? Do you think that's kind of been maybe something that he's had to work on, or do you think it's just been the quality of teams that we've fielded in the past maybe just haven't been to that tournament type standard like we think this one is?
Yeah, I think the personnel is a really big key. This team, Luke, is the best one we've had since that run in 19. And it's not as good as that 19 team by all means, but just overall how this roster is, the pitching obviously is better, and the offense is much more hitting on cylinders, albeit it's not completely there yet. I'm like I said though, I'm pretty darn certain that this is not like a team in teams past over these past 5 years or so. So I'm excited because I'm off that day, so I'm definitely gonna be watching. You can tune in to the live tweet coverage on Sam Houston Sports Talk X, normally known as Twitter. That link's in the description and all of that. All right, we'll dive into the one final segment. We'll take a look at women's golf, how Jen and Go are doing, or Joe are doing, excuse me, and the and football made a lot of signings official, and kind of mainly on the offensive line. Is the offensive line primed to be much better than it has been over the past couple of years under the new regime? We'll get into that coming up next here on Sam Houston Sports Talk. All right, one final segment to wrap up. I know we haven't talked about men's basketball, especially with the active transfer portal, activity that we had a week or so ago. We're gonna get into that in another point because I want to dedicate that to its own thing because that whole thing, honestly, Luke, has me pretty excited for Sam Houston men's basketball come season starts and later on in the fall of 2025.
Yeah, super exciting, obviously, and we'll talk about it more in that episode you're talking about. But a lot of new signings there from the transfer portal. Looks like not that it's completely finished up, but we definitely now have a good grip on kind of what the roster is going to look like potentially, and we'll go from there. But definitely exciting. Some exciting additions from some guys. I also have like some all-conference type honors, and very, very exciting.
Let's get the elephant out of the room on that one. Po' Boy King, what a name! I love this already. I love it. Po' Boys in Johnson Coliseum in 2025-2026. Let's go. Write it down.
Colin, if Sam Houston gets hot down the stretch and it's Po' Boy King on the headlines, there's gonna be so many memes about this, and the burner accounts will have fun with this one because, I mean, what a great name, Po' Boy, huh?
Po' Boy, but we'll save that conversation for another day.
Well, what does your Po' Boy look like, Colin? What's your toppings look like? What's your Po' Boy order?
I can't really say because I don't have Po' Boys that often at all. I'm not a picky guy though. I'm not a picky guy. I mean, what do you do?
Obviously, shrimp Po' Boy is
I get the shrimp in there. Yeah,
gotta have the lettuce, tomato.
I'm not a big tomato guy personally. I'm not a big tomato guy.
That's ridiculous, Colin. I like putting the French fries also in it as well. I like doing that. I also like putting the chips inside a sandwich. So it's not the same thing, but it's similar. Potatoes and bread. And then you got to have the house sauce that every place has it at their own little homemade sauce type topping on it. It's good. And you can never go wrong with onions. I don't know, maybe some pickles, maybe not. It's different every place, and every place it's good probably.
Okay, yeah, sure, but yeah, but
I'm with you too, Colin. I'm not a huge Po' Boy. I mean, Po' Boys are good, but it's not my go-to type sandwich. I mean, I didn't have a Po' Boy when we were in New Orleans. As crazy as that sounds, I didn't have one.
I had some gumbo.
Me too. It was good.
Yeah, it was. I would definitely give. I'll give something or two to do that trip all over again because that was so fun. We'll get to, speaking of football, we'll get to that in a little bit. But Luke, you've been keeping track of Sam Houston women's golf. Jen and Joe, they're competing in the regionals right now. But Luke, it doesn't seem like it's looking pretty good.
Well, it's not awful, but it's not. I wouldn't say it's ideal. Grace Jen right now is at 2 over, and Joe is at 3 over. That's tied 23 and 28. So not necessarily the result that we're looking for, especially with the course going low today. Both were still in the mix after the first round, but today multiple players 5 under, 4 under, 3 under on the day. And we are even par and 1 over currently at the moment. And that's through a good amount of holes. Right now, let's see, Jen is through 12 and Joe is right behind her being through 11 holes. So, I don't think we're in contention for this one. We'll see if we can turn it up. and maybe go nuclear tomorrow in round 3. But course is definitely playing tough. When the leader is under 5, was at 5 under, and there's only 11 players that are under par. So course is playing tough, and we're right there in it. But just not necessarily in contention.
Yeah, it's but again, a lot can change in a day, though.
Yeah, for sure. And golf's one of those sports that some days you have it and some days you don't, and there are moments where you can just go absolutely atomic with the putter. I always talk about Spieth because that's my guy. Now Scheffler won the tournament, Byron Nelson, up here in McKinney on Sunday, but Spieth shot a 62 on Sunday and didn't really look that impressive. I mean, he had a decent 3 rounds there, but then it got absolutely hot with the flat stick there on the last day, and that's kind of what it takes in golf. And you can see anyone, I think, from the leader all the way to probably the top 15, probably the top 15 all have a good shot to still win this thing. So you never know where things can happen. And weather's been a little dicey up here in Texas, and they're in Norman, Oklahoma, which is just across the Red River. Yeah, a lot of rain coming through. I don't know if it was raining in Houston today, but it's been raining up here pretty much all day. So, yeah, you never know. You never know with these things.
Yeah, we'll see how it progresses over the next few days. All right, let's end this pod on football. They made a lot of signings official today, Luke. Especially a lot of signings on the offensive line. That's kind of a subtopic I was thinking about. They've been adding quite a lot of size to that O-line room, and the offensive line has been a big topic of discussion over the past 2 years when it comes to the offenses. But it's a new regime. I kind of have a feeling that, and they're getting some experience as well, especially a guy from Maryland. And they had a commitment from Isaac Sohn from North Texas. So and they lost a lot of the O line in the transfer portal as well. And you don't have Ethan Hagler, so you don't know who's going to be the center right now. I think overall, though, you don't know who the starting 5 on the O line is. I think there's going to be legit some competition, and I think the competition is going to bode well for the Bearcats heading into the 2025 season.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of signings here just today as of recording, right? There's definitely been an emphasis on the trenches both ways. We saw that before today. On the defensive line, getting a couple edges, getting a couple of tackles, and just as today, I mean, we're seeing, like you said, a lot of size being added. There's definitely a effort there to really beef up the O line. Like you said, lost a lot in the transfer portal. Lost a lot both ways, really. Now that I'm thinking about it, so Phil Longo definitely has his test coming up here. But we've seen some interesting developments on Twitter regarding a certain social media covering. I had to say it, Colin.
We're not getting into that. That's
please, Colin. Please.
It's none of our business.
Okay.
I will say though, the burners have been absolutely hilarious.
Is the signature too big? Has the signature been too big, Colin?
I don't really care. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
It's
just a graphic, man.
It's literally a graphic. There's really nothing to it. That's all I'm going to say on that.
Some would say there's been more pressing news and more debate. That's been going on outside of just a graphic through the entire program. I mean, it's pretty silly. That a certain person just going all in, it seems, on this one type situation, but it is what it is.
Yeah, that's all I'm really going to say about that. But we're not gonna talk on football way too much though until honestly, Luke, I'm not ready to make any determinations until an official roster is out, because, well, Colby Sessoms is still on the roster, but he's apparently no longer with the team, so I don't know what that's all about. But we'll see what happens on that front. That'll do it though for us here on Sammy's Sports Talk. That's Luke Scott calling you. Be sure you subscribe, follow us on all our social media platforms. Link in the description. And as always, guys, eat 'em up, cats. Y'all have a great rest of your weekend. Be sure you tune in. Remember, Sam Houston softball. They begin their run in the Conference USA tournament Wednesday, 12 p.m. Central Time on ESPN Plus. So tune in for that. Support your Bearcats in baseball as well. They have a really good shot of sneaking their way into the Conference USA tournament. So support your Bearcats in two things: God and the Cats, baby.
God and the Cats, eat them up.